Was Venom good in Marvel's Spider-Man 2? After completing the game 100%, I'm here to give you my honest opinion and talk about not only Venom as a character, but talk about Harry Osborn and about the Symbiote, the two that combined make Venom. I intend to review other characters and other aspects of the game in the future as well, so be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to receive these future videos, and please leave me a thumbs up to support my work. Thank you. I love how Harry developed in this game because we could clearly see how much of a friend he is to Peter and how much both of them cares for this friendship. During the entire game, Harry tries to pull in Peter back to his life, wants to work with him in the Emily May Foundation, wants to work with him when he becomes kind of the Agent Venom, which is so cool because he wants to join Peter in his own crusade as Spider Bros, as he says. And even when he is Venom, he's also trying to put Peter in the plan. He wants Peter to join him and he wants to heal the world by the side of his best friend. There is a moment where him as Venom even says to Peter that they're not just gonna be friends now, they're gonna become bros.
This is where we became best friends.
Yeah, it is.
And now it's where we become brothers.
It's crazy because even after Peter mistreats Harry, he's bad to Harry when he's wearing the black suit and Harry's dying. He needs the black suit to survive. And Peter just says, you know, why don't you swallow a few more pills to see how you do, you know?
This suit is the only reason I'm still alive.
Yeah, it's pretty great, isn't it?
Why don't you pop some more pills and say what you're really feeling?
He still wants to have Peter by his side. I thought that in the moment he saw Norman, his father, hugging Peter and saying how much he was a friend to Harry, how much he loved that Peter cared for Harry, even after Peter just turned his back on Harry. Norman didn't know, of course. But I thought that when Harry saw it, he was gonna completely turn on Peter. But for my surprise, when he turned Venom and he had the power to actually challenge Peter and try to get vengeance on him, he didn't. He actually wanted Peter by his side. And it's funny because I thought both Harry and the Symbiote would want revenge on Spider-Man, but neither of them wanted that. Both of them wanted Spider-Man to join them again. The only moment where Harry is kind of against Peter is when Peter comes back with the black suit and Harry's pretty much dying and he needs it to survive, and Peter doesn't want to give it to him and says that it must be destroyed. So of course Harry loses his mind because he's dying, he needs the black suit. And that was shortly after Peter was a dick to Harry. So it makes sense that he would try and attack Peter and release his rage because, again, that's his only hope of survival. But after that, he pretty much forgives Peter for what he's done and wants him by his side. That same feeling can be seen in the scene where he turns MJ into Screen. He basically goes after MJ and Spider-Man is so scared, like, okay, he's gonna try and hurt MJ to get to me or something. But when he gets there, Harry's just drinking some tea or a coffee with MJ, waiting for Peter to be there, and trying to invite him again to heal the world. Of course, when Peter denies, he attacks him a little bit, but basically he wanted both Peter and MJ to be by his side. That's why he turns MJ into Scream, and basically he says, show him what he's missing. So he wants his friends with him, even though they're trying to stop him, they're going against him. He doesn't necessarily want to hurt them. He just wants them to be by his side. I gotta say that I love that from the perspective of Harry, because again, it's so beautiful to see that his friendship with MJ and Peter is so big to the point of wanting them by his side and not wanting to hurt them, even when they are trying to stop him from reaching his goal or his dream. But from the perspective of the character Venom and the Symbiote, this is not how it usually behaves. Now, I agree that they got Venom right when it comes to how scary he is. He's extremely big. He does bite people. Look at the way he killed Kraven. That was just wow. When I saw that, I was like, my god, I can't believe they did that. He really is very powerful. He has raw power. But when it comes to his motives, his goal, and his behavior, this is not how Venom acts. When we talk about Venom, Venom is usually the combination of the symbiote that Peter got and dumped, and a host that has resentment towards Spider-Man. And that combination is what forms Venom. The name Venom comes because Venom wanted to be Venom. He wanted to be poison for Peter Parker, because both the symbiote and the host suffered at the hands of Spider-Man. In this story, both Harry and the symbiote did suffer at the hands of Spider-Man. So we had the potential for Harry plus the symbiote to become Venom. But even when he turns into Venom, we can see that the way he behaves towards Spider-Man again is of wanting him to be on his side. Insomniac did say that they wanted to do a story that we've never seen before, something original, and that was extremely original. I cannot deny I've never seen Venom behaving like that towards Spider-Man. But again, the creative director also said that everything we love about Venom was gonna be present in the game. And in the way that they did it in this game, Venom simply doesn't have that Venom essence. When Harry puts on the symbiote again and says, "We are Venom," I mean, it's an epic sentence that Venom says, but when I looked at it, I was like, why are you Venom? Why are you calling yourself Venom? You know? He's not trying to be Venom or poison for Spider-Man, for Peter Parker, for anyone. He just wants to heal the world and have everyone with a symbiote. So the name Venom and the essence of why he's called Venom is not here. Now, is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. Personally, I really liked what they tried to do, having something different. Venom not only trying to hurt Spider-Man, being Venom for Spider-Man, wanting to hurt him and cause a lot of pain in his life, but having this bigger goal of trying to heal the world. It makes sense for Harry's personality because that's what Harry wanted, and it makes sense for the symbiote because again he wants to populate Earth. And if everybody got a symbiote, I mean, it's good for the symbiote, and for Harry's point of view is not as bad as well because I mean he's only survived because of the symbiote. But I completely understand those that expected Venom to act like Venom usually acts, but instead got this different version that Insomniac created. My honest opinion on the character Venom, the union of Harry Osborn and the symbiote in the universe of Insomniac, is that honestly I don't believe that the name Venom is really fitting for this character. Of course they wouldn't put any other name because Venom already has established fan base and is already established as one of Spider-Man's most popular and coolest villains. But the reason why he's actually called Venom is not really present here, so for him the name Venom doesn't seem that appropriate. However, even though the essence of Venom is not necessarily here, I really like this new version that they did. Because the host is Harry, the connection between Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and Venom is much heavier than if it was anybody else. That is something that I was defending when I said that Harry was gonna be Venom in this game. I can leave a cards up here for the discussions where I was talking that Harry should be Venom for this game, because the relationship between Spider-Man and Venom would be much heavier, and it is much heavier because it's his best friend. You can clearly see how scared Peter is to lose Harry during the entire game, especially at the end when he turns into Venom. He knows he has to get Harry rid of the symbiote, but he's afraid that if he does that, Harry will die, especially after Dr. Cut Connors says that the bond between symbiote and host is complete, and the only way for you to stop Venom would be by killing the host, Harry Osborn.
You need to know. Harry's gone. Host and symbiote are perfectly fused. I'll find a way to save him. You can't. But you can still stop the symbiote. How? By killing the host.
That gets even more intense when we can see Norman Osborn's despair in finding a cure. Just by looking at his face, we can see how much he's trying to work to save his son. He knows that if Harry dies, not only will he lose his best friend, which is something terrible for him, but also the father of his best friend, which is Norman, which is someone that he knows and that he has a bit of a relationship with, is gonna be devastated. Which makes the loss of the host, Venom, much, much more intense. Not to mention that this sets up perfectly for a third game, where Norman is gonna blame Spider-Man for what happened to his son, and possibly have a Green Goblin. I talked about this in my video where I was talking about how Marvel Spider-Man could be the perfect trilogy. I'm gonna leave a card up here for you to check that one out. But basically, the idea of choosing Harry as Venom's host was just perfect on so many levels. Now, regarding the symbiote, they also did something that I loved, which is it pretty much wanted Spider-Man from the beginning until the end, even after Peter dumped it. It chose to go from Harry to Peter in the beginning, and then it kept going after Peter the entire story, even after it rebonded with Harry. And this set up such a cool situation to see, which was a jealousy relationship between Harry, Miles, and the symbiote regarding Peter. In the beginning, when Peter is giving all his time for Harry, Miles feels a little left out of the party because whenever he calls Peter, Peter is never available because he's always with Harry. But in the end, when Peter is working with Miles to stop Venom, to stop the symbiote and Harry from getting their goal, you can clearly see Venom talking to Miles when they're fighting and saying, "You were the one who separated us. We were doing fine, we were happy, and then you came and you took us away from him."
In the forest, we remember what you did.
Harry! Man, that's the symbiote!
talking, not you!
You were jealous. That's why you pushed us apart.
Maybe I was, but Pete wasn't Pete!
When Peter is fighting Miles using the black suit, we can also see some lines where he says something like, "Oh, you just want to be the better Spider-Man, don't you?"
You're not better than me! I need this suit! It makes me a better Spider-Man! You just want it for yourself!
And again, all of this just keeps adding weight to the fights and to the drama. Regarding his design, I just gotta say I loved it so much. It's one of my favorite designs for Venom, because he not only looks great, I loved how the spider in the chest spreads throughout his body. I loved his eyes, the way he opened his mouth felt so animalistic. But I gotta say that one of my favorite things was Venom's size. You can clearly see in the scene where he grabs Spider-Man that he can grab the entire torso of Spider-Man just by using one hand. Venom feels like he's 2 times the size of a regular human. It's ridiculous. When you fight against the Oscorp dudes there inside, you can simply grab them. There is one button that is meant just to grab people. It feels like I'm playing as Hulk with Venom because he's so freaking high and so freaking strong. It feels like people are nothing for him, which makes him a lot scarier. And they also nailed it on the tongue movement. I gotta say, it's so cool to see him doing that, and he does it all the time. It feels so Venomish. His attacks are also just perfect. He's got symbiote attacks with the tendrils. He creates objects, like he makes a ball with spikes to hurt the Oscorp dudes. There's a finisher that he does that. I think there's a finisher where he breaks the back of one of them. There's one that he simply bites the person, just throw them away. He also does that in the fight against Spider-Man. If you don't dodge one of his attacks, he'll bite you and just toss you out. So he's simply perfect in that sense as well. I loved all the powers, and I love the possibility of being able to play as him and experience this raw power and size. My only criticism towards Venom's design or powers is the wings. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about them for now. I think I should replay the game again and try to see how I feel, but my first time looking at it, I was impressed. I thought it was, wow, he's so much powerful. But maybe that was a little too exaggerated, maybe. I still have to think about it. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. I'd rather Venom to keep jumping tall and using the tendrils to move around other than having the wings. Because, again, that just feels kind of exaggerated. But, again, I still have to think about it. So to sum it up, I thought Venom was close to perfect here, or perfect in his own way. Again, for those who are expecting Venom to act just like Venom does in the comics on his creation of wanting to be Poison and Venom for Peter Parker, he's not like that here. So you might be a little disappointed, but again, Insomniac did say they were going for something different, so they did what they said. But the difference that they went for was amazing, at least in my opinion. I really like to see the relationship between Spider-Man Harry, Spider-Man Symbiote, Spider-Man Venom. The goal that they had for Venom to heal the world, open up the space for them to go full Web of Shadows at the end, which I love personally. I intend to talk more about the rest of the symbiote plot in another video. Here I wanted to cover more of Venom. I talked a bit about the symbiote, but the symbiote plot in a whole I intend to discuss in another video. And his design, again, I have nothing to complain other than the wings. I thought they were a little exaggerated. I'm gonna give it a second try next time I play. But everything else, the design, the size, the attacks, the tongue movement, the voice, oh my god, the voice was just amazing. Whenever I heard the voice, I was like, oh man, this is so cool. I just love Venom as a whole, and again, if he's not perfect to me, he's close to perfect. Maybe the wings will take that for me, but thank you Insomniac so much for this experience. It was fantastic. If you'd like to support my work, please make sure to check out my membership by clicking on the join button below. It would really support me and I'd be super thankful. And now I want to hear your thoughts. What did you think about Venom? Did you like that it was Harry? Were you expecting something else? His relationship with Spider-Man? What did you think about the wings? Do you also think that it was a little exaggerated? Do you think it was very exaggerated? Did you just like it? Leave all your thoughts in the comments and let's be greater together.